Hi there, this is a video response to the end of the 9/11 Truth Movement. And first off, I'd like to just state for the record that I am not a 9/11 truther, but I am here in defense of the 9/11 truthers. Some of them. I've never seen any of your videos before, and by all means, I'm not here to attack you or your point of view. You're fully entitled to believe whatever it is you choose, as I believe everybody is free to believe whatever it is they want. I don't sit here and attack anybody's beliefs. But there's a couple of problems I have with your video. The biggest one being how when you kind of try and legitimize your point of view on how the 9/11 Truth Movement is full of a bunch of jokers and crazy wackos, what you do is you don't just talk about the 9/11 Truth Movement, but you take in pretty much every conspiracy that's ever existed and then superimpose that on top of the 9/11 Truth Movement. So what you're doing is, because in your video you talk about reptilians, some people believe in reptilian invaders who are infiltrating the infrastructure of all the governments, which, again, I don't believe that. You talk about the crop circles and how how some people believe that alien spaceships have come down and made these crop circles. Again, not something I believe. But you label that with the 9/11 Truth Movement. And what you're doing actually is you're taking kind of a cheap and easy way out of actually having a legitimate argument against the 9/11 Truth Movement, because what you're doing is you're attempting to discredit the 9/11 Truth Movement by bringing in irrelevant conspiracy theories to throw on top of it to just kind of discredit the particular movement. Now, I'm going to also tell you some of the problems I have with the 9/11 Truth Movement. The biggest problem I have with any movement is that every movement is based on the concept of groupthink. Every movement. Some good, some bad. I'm not saying groupthink is an entirely bad thing, but what I'm saying is that when you engage and even from what I can gather from you, even on your side of it, it almost seems to me like you're kind of engaging. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm not attacking you. I'm just telling you what I see. But from what I see on your end, you're kind of adhering to the groupthink thing as well, because you're playing to a particular audience. Now, take me for instance. I'm not a 9/11 truther, but I do have questions about 9/11. But I don't like being labeled with groups and in categories. I think for myself. I don't need other people to reinforce my own beliefs. I'm one of the few people left, I think, that has true conviction. I think a lot of people don't have any conviction, don't have any true beliefs anymore. I think they just go along with the crowd on every end, truthers and otherwise. So I guess what I was trying to say, I kind of got off on tangent there, but what I was trying to say is people who engage in groupthink, I don't think so much really, they believe what they're saying, but I don't think they care so much about spreading the word as they do about gaining acceptance. I think spreading the word and gaining acceptance are two entirely different things, and I think that's really what the ultimate motive is for a lot of people in any movement, even in the non-truth movement, even the people who have to discredit at all costs the 9/11 Truth Movement. Again, it's one of those things where I think it's just it's another gang is all it is, where you have to gain acceptance in your circle by doing whatever it is you can to discredit the other group and gain acceptance within your own group. I know it's kind of weird. It's almost like a weird sociological sort of observation, but again, like I said, I'm in the middle. I look at everything objectively. I kind of find it amusing to see these arguments about whether or not 9/11 was an inside job, whether or not 9/11 was not an inside job. But there was one other point I wanted to illustrate to you before I shut this off here. I got to get going. But the other thing I wanted to bring up was, because like I said, I do have questions about 9/11, but I'm not presumptuous. I don't personally believe that 9/11 was an inside job per se, but I believe 9/11 was definitely exploited to further an agenda that previous administrations have wanted to pass, and that's an expansion of powers on the executive level. So I think 9/11 was most certainly exploited. But one of the biggest questions I have about 9/11, you brought up a point in your video where you talk about a lot of people talking about the controlled demolitions aspect of the World Trade Centers, the World Trade Center and the towers. And this is something that I do agree with, because I have never, and nobody has ever seen in history, a skyscraper coming down in a standard free fall controlled demolition sort of example until September 11, 2001. It's never happened, especially as a result of fire. I mean, there's been fires in skyscrapers, hundreds, if not thousands, of fires in skyscrapers. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, yeah, but this is a plane crashing that was jet fuel. That's fine. But the argument you made was if there were explosives in the buildings, how come the fires didn't set them off? Well, if you understand anything about demolitions, the main explosives are always placed at the base of the structure. They're always placed at the foundation. That's how a controlled demolition works, because you have to. A controlled demolition is basically an implosion. It has to come down from the ground up. You have to start the base explosion at the bottom, and then allow the detonation to go up from the ground up. That's how it comes down in a free fall. Now, I am by no means a demolition expert, but based on all the things that I've read and I've seen, this is how it was explained by experts, and this is how I took it in. If I'm wrong, by all means, somebody correct me. Let me know how. I'd rather be wrong and I'd rather be proven wrong than believe I'm right and be ignorant. But from everything I've read, that's how it works. It starts from the ground up. So no, of course not. The planes hit at the top of the structure, and if the majority of the structural damage was at the top, and that's where most of the fire and the heat was at, then logic would tell you that yes, it would actually collapse from the top and come down and break off. That's not how it happened. And that's where the main damage was. That's where the main that's where the main structural damage was, and that's how, for all logical purposes, if that were the cause of the main damage, and that's how the buildings would have come down, it would have come down from the top and broken off, not actually come down in the controlled demolition fashion. Anyway, I kind of ranted there a little bit. I apologize, but that's my little take on your video there. And this is the first time I've ever actually done a video of myself as a video response. So you really kind of piqued my interest here a little bit. So, like I said, this isn't an attack on you or your beliefs. You feel free to believe whatever it is you choose, and I'm certainly going to do the same. You have yourself a fantastic day, and take care.